Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. A happy Tuesday. I'm so glad I asked for some extra time off because I really mingled well with the towns along the way in Texas. I'm back in Ozona, Texas. I'm gonna spend a little bit of time here before I head back. I got a good vibe here. There's a lot of good scenery here. So I'm going to be taking some walks here, recording some Peter Like shows. But I want to reflect on some thoughts that I've had during this trip. So this was a romantic getaway for me. A lot of people don't resonate with the idea that one can hold romance toward themselves. And unfortunately, my peers don't often 100% resonate with it. It's a little bit better in Phoenix compared to when I was in Seattle or New York or even Rochester, New York. I think a lot more people in Phoenix resonate with the idea that one can hold romance with themselves than in some of those other towns. The problem comes with that there's a lot of penalties with single life. Here's my take on it. God imposes a number of penalties on single life, but then man adds another layer to that. What do I mean by that? Let's talk about the ones that God imposes. For one, you got one person who needs to take care of everything, right? Your household activities, even a vacation like this. It would have been so much nicer if there were two of us driving, right? The trip could have gone a whole lot smoother. We would have had a lot more energy when we stopped in various towns. Even if we didn't account for having a second person sharing the cost, just sharing the driving itself, right, would have been so much better. Now take that to your everyday life. A lot of times I don't have somebody cooking at home, doing the household chores and all that. Okay, so God imposes a number of penalties, but then man adds another layer on that by, so for example, when I go to the office and people assume that, they have child care needs, and at my last job we were allowed to quote unquote donate our vacation time to a colleague in need. Nobody would. Imagine I went to the office and said that, hey, would anybody donate some vacation time to me? Because every time I go on vacation, I have to do all the driving, and so I don't have time to enjoy the vacation, or I don't have anybody to cook at home for me. It would be nice if I occasionally had a Friday off so that I could take care of household chores. Imagine how that would sound, right? I don't think that would go very well. I think most people wouldn't even understand what I was talking about, right? Anyways, that's an extreme example, but you can see little details like that. And so it made me reflect next time my colleagues ask for various favors. Now, don't get me wrong. I care about their kids. That's a tough one for me. That's a tough one for me. But at the very least, I need to hesitate a little bit before giving it to them, to make them, to add recognition that I'm giving something, right? I think at my last job, the problem is nobody recognized I was giving up anything at all. My colleague had COVID-19, her kids had no school to go to or whatever. People recognize that. It's visible, right? The idea that a single person going on vacation doesn't drive as fast as two people, that's not as visible, right? The idea that, I really despise how a lot of the trickiness that I run into is so invisible, right? A lot of times I skip out and go into office events due to food allergies. Food allergies is a very non-visible event, right? Unless you're having a big reaction. Fortunately, none of my reactions are big. Even when I do have a reaction, it's very invisible. I get skin rashes, my ADHD symptoms kind of flare up, and I just have to hide out from other people. See, none of that's visible, right? Kids, no school, COVID-19, that's all visible, right? That's a big one. I need to find a way to express what I need, right? The second thing I thought about during this trip was I was thinking about how other people who are solosexual handle their lives. So Kelly Clarkson's birthday is coming up in 2 weeks. I was thinking to myself, how would Kelly Clarkson handle this? Well, obviously she has a lot more resources than I do, right? She probably wouldn't be driving, right? She probably would either hire somebody to drive or fly in first class, right? And get a 5-star hotel room over in Kerrville, right? That's probably how she would do it, right? And so it made me think about, I need to diversify my holdings of precious metals. I want to have at least some of every metal on the periodic table, especially that 6th period. So on the 6th period, I'm missing only 4 major metals. I got hafnium, osmium, iridium, and mercury to go, and then I'll have the entire 6 aside from the rare earth metals, right? And so I'm thinking of iridium first when I see a good deal. Right now it's kind of high, but history bears out that one of these metals is going to be a 1020 bagger. History bears that out. We have before the financial crisis, we had rhodium go from 300 an ounce all the way up to 10,000 an ounce. We had the Ford Motor Company in the 1990s stockpiling palladium, took it all the way from 80 bucks an ounce all the way to 1,000 an ounce, right? And then you had the recent run up in iridium. You had the Hunt brothers, of course. So history really bears out that having a little bit of every metal on the periodic table can be a wise thing to do. But after I have a little bit of everything, I want to beef up my holdings of the ones I'm most sure of. Bismuth, well, I got 3 tons of bismuth already, so probably tellurium and indium would probably be the next ones that I really beef up and hold a good percentage of my portfolio in. And maybe of tantalum as well. Tantalum is not so rare in the Earth's crust. I think it's hard to extract, and there's some political tension around it. So I'm not as bullish on tellurium as the other metals. So the other solosexual person I thought about was Peter Schitt. Peter Schitt has a son named Spencer who's into cryptocurrencies, and obviously he's living really well right now. And so it just goes to show, and when I thought about it, I thought about this. Would I rather have a partner to take this trip with, or have more resources to make the trip more comfortable? I'll let you think about which one I preferred. And so it makes it sound really stupid. You know, at my last job, when my colleague was asking me to donate my vacation time, the reason I donated it to her was because she's Filipino, and I thought she would hook me up with somebody in her family, right? Either her sister, her niece, or something like that. And so I helped her, and not only did it not materialize, but I'm giving up something that I would prefer for a less perfect solution, right? So that was really dumb of me. Now here's the thing, I don't have a problem with her taking off to take care of her kids. You know, at the time we were working hybrid, and I would often see her kids in the Zoom screen, and I didn't have a problem with that. I only had a problem that I had to give up something to do that, right? So that's a tough one for me. Anyways, when I get home, I need to normalize my relations with work in relation to what I need out of my life, and buy more indium. That's going to be my 2 goals for the coming years. This is the Peter Lik Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Lik Show. Bum 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 bum.